Good afternoon, Deborah here. All right, this is going to be another Q&A because what I'm doing is going back and doing updates on previous topics and then also introducing you to some new things. One of the most important things, I'm going to start with that as the headline story, is bank scams. And I mentioned that you shouldn't answer your phone to people who are not in your calls list or your contacts list. And that doesn't always protect you from being contacted by these people. In the last 5 days, I have been contacted 6 times by text message saying, and this was supposedly from our bank, and we bank with Crédit Agricole, and we bank specifically with Brittany, which is the division of Crédit Agricole that has all English-speaking customer service people. And the first one came in at the end of last week, towards the end, I guess it was Thursday, and it said, oh, well, we're preparing to process your payment of 899 euros. And if you dispute that, could you just click on this link and tell us why you dispute this, or call us at this number to tell us why you dispute this. And I thought, hang on, that's not right. So I looked under my list of contacts at the number for the bank, and it was nothing like the number that was there. And I thought, this is fraud. This is fraud. And we're certainly not clicking on a link that I don't understand who it is. So I contacted the bank, and they got back to me the very next day, and they said, no, this is a scam. Thank goodness you didn't. And then I called, and I spoke to someone, and he said, no, you did the right thing. He said, you absolutely did the right thing. And I said, I don't trust any. He said, when you logged in today, he said, you didn't go through all of your numbers. And I went, no, because I don't trust anything. I said, I realize I'm talking to the bank now. I said, but no, I don't trust anyone nowadays. I'm watching people get their bank accounts emptied. There was an article in the newspaper last week, and it's at the very end of the week, and it said that on average, 2,000 to 3,000 euros is being taken from the accounts of people who have clicked on those links, answered the phone, done the wrong thing as far as making contact with scammers. It's very hard for the bank to, feel sorry for you if you're cooperating with the scammers. So some banks are much nicer than others. I don't know which ones are which. I'm not going to tell you and make suggestions for who to bank with. But I'm very glad that I contacted Crédit Agricole because they now know that there's a problem. When I received another one of these, I think it's the 5th one, this morning, I wrote back to them, and I wrote to my personal bank representative, and I said to her, is there some government site that we can report all these to? I haven't heard back. I don't know if there is, but it's ridiculous. Now, when you log into the bank in the morning to check your details and do your banking, there's a huge red banner that comes up at the top of the page, and it tells you, alert, 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 and it's bright red, seriously. And it said, we have received, numerous reports of, and they're explaining to you that this is really going on in a big way. And I don't know why. I have no idea why. But it's very stressful. And it gives you a sensation of being punched in the tummy because you're going, oh God, why are we being targeted? And it's not just us. It's not just us. There are a lot of people being targeted. You have to be alert at all times. I would be willing to bet that this is happening in other countries, not just in France. I know it's happening in some other European countries. So that's my update on that. Now, several weeks ago, someone asked me about the quality of air. And what I'm going to do is in this episode, I'm going to talk to you about IQAIR, and it's where you can find out the quality of air for any village or town or region that you're looking at a house and thinking about buying a house or buying an apartment or moving to temporarily, whatever. It gives you all the numbers for, what's going on with the particles in the air, and it shows maps so that you'll get a regional map, then you'll get the France-wide map, and you can really get a feel for what places have cleaner air than others. Now there's another article, and I'm going to try and find, it was the EU Climate Watchdog article, and it was in France 24 a few days ago. And they're talking about the fact that we have really, really in France, and I think this is a wonderful thing, we've brought down the amount of air pollution significantly in the last few years. It's down by 30-something%. That's fabulous, really, when you think about how places like China are going up in air pollution. Europe is trying to come down. But the EU Commission is saying, we really need you to get even a tighter handle on all of this. Yes, we're proud of you for doing better with the air pollution. However, now we have to address the issues with water. The degradation of the soil here, because we've had prolonged droughts. And I know we live in Brittany, and it looks like it rains a lot here, and it's green. But even here, we are having issues with water. And last week when I talked about different utility companies and the water companies, we're all tapped into different water reservoirs that are underneath the areas that we live in. If the water reservoirs dry out because there's not enough water going in from the rain, we're all going to be in a real pickle. So what they're asking is for there to be more control over farming, over agriculture, and of course the farmers do object to that. I don't know what the solution is. It's not my field of expertise. I don't know how you can conserve the water that's needed to water the plants, to grow the plants. I don't understand all of that. I know it's a little disconcerting some days when you go on a drive through the country and you can see these huge machines that are like spitting out water with those ones that go around and around like that. And then the water's on the ground, it's on the streets, it's on the everything. And you think, that just looks wasteful. But I'm not a farmer. I would never, it wouldn't occur to me to make a statement that that's being wasteful and the farmers should do something about it and they should do it better. I don't know how they do it. I don't know what their conservation means are. I don't know if they can, reharvest the water somehow, if it's going into drains. I don't know any of that. But we have to, in this area, the EU has to pay attention to the fact that we have higher temperatures every year. And the article mentions the fact that Europe is not built for heat. It really isn't, especially this part of Europe. We are very fortunate, again, very fortunate. We have a house with thick walls, and it doesn't vary. The temperature does not vary more than, a degree or so, whether it's summer or winter. It stays really comfortable. But there are a lot of houses that are not like this. And the electricity is going to get strained if all of a sudden people start having to put in more air conditioning for summers. Every time we have a heat wave here, and it's unexpected, people go, oh, it's just the heat, it's just the summer. No, it's not just the heat in the summer. It's climate change. Let's be realistic about what it is. So, all right. So please make sure to look in the links, the show notes. There's going to be so many articles linked to this. All right, I hope that's helpful. A very nice thing to share is that the WARP card renewal. Now, the WARP card, Withdrawal Agreement Residency Permit, that's what we have. And when we get it at the end of the year, it means we'll have our 10-year card and we are now considered permanent residents, not just temporary permanent residents, which is a 5-year card. You can always change your mind and, they don't know if you're going to move away, because we had a 5-year card before when we went back to Australia. So they don't consider you here until you get your 10-year card. And I'm so pleased. That's really exciting that we're going to have our 10-year card and we will be permanent residents. Very happy about that. So I've got a link to that, and it tells you all about the updates and what you have to do to get your cards renewed. And it's apparently been not contentious, I don't mean that, but it's been a bit of a struggle to get all the different prefectures on board with, yes, we're going to have it done as a nationwide thing. So it's not just, oh, well, your prefecture does it this way, and your prefecture does it this way, and your prefecture. They're trying to get everybody to maintain a consistent standard on how to do it. So just because you get your visa and you move here, don't think your problems with paperwork go away. No, this is part of your life forever. So please know that if you move to France, you will be dealing with French bureaucracy for the rest of your life, every single day, every single month. And trust me, we do, constantly. There's always something that needs to be renewed or more forms that need to be sent in. So be patient. The last article that I'm going to include in the list of show notes, that was me putting my computer down, is an article that was in The Guardian the other day. I hadn't decided for sure if I was going to address all these things. There are so many people who want to get away from the United States right now due to the government and due to the chaos over there and having troops on the street. It's not a happy situation. It is not a democratic situation. And if one more person says to me, well, I didn't sign on to you to be a political champ, you know what? Go somewhere else, because I have the right, this is my channel, I have the right to say what I'd like. And what I'm saying is, Trump is ruining the country. The Republicans are stealing democracy. And there's not enough being done, and the Democrats are not standing up enough. So I don't know who's going to rescue the United States. But I talked to my daughter the other day, and it feels like, and I had said this to Mark months ago, and didn't want to talk to my children about it and make them feel alarmed. It feels like 1930s Germany. It really does. And it's a case of, when do you get out? And when is getting out too late? All right? Think about all of those things. If you're thinking about moving over here in a year or two, it might be too late. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if borders will close. I don't want to speculate about all the things that could happen. But right now, raising children in a place like that, unless you're a fundamentalist MAGA believer, and if you are, you're probably looking at the wrong channel. You might need to go elsewhere and go follow those MAGA people, because if any of you comment back about that, I will delete you immediately. Okay? There you go. That firm. I don't want my family being frightened about living in the United States. That's not the United States that I grew up in, long before I chose. And I chose to move to Europe. And I chose to get married to a man that I met who was from Australia, and then move to Australia and get citizenship. I made choices. What if you're in a place where you have no choices? That's a really bad place to be. Do not think that this is a panacea. Moving to Europe is not a panacea. Right now, there's what they call collective anxiety. Up in the Scandinavian countries, they are having everything from neighborhood meetings to township meetings to district meetings where they're preparing for war. They really do think that another war is going to start, that World War III might start. Is World War III on the horizon? We might have to examine that in a separate issue. But the article that I am including in the show notes today is about collective anxiety. The idea that whole airports can get closed down because all of a sudden there's a swarm of drones that just hovers over Munich. And they can't take off. The planes can't take off. The planes can't land. The same thing happened in Denmark a few days earlier than that. They've swarmed around parts of France. They've swarmed around parts of Germany. Putin is really sticking the finger in there and just giving it a twist and trying to see what he can get away with. That's not a comfortable feeling. So if you think that you have stress because you're living with Trump, guess what? We have stress because we're living with Putin. Does any place in the world feel really safe right now? No, it doesn't. Now, I don't know what anyone's spiritual traditions are. I don't know what your ways of relaxing are. In our case, we do meditation. We do tapping. I don't know if any of you have ever seen tapping where you start off and you do EFT tapping. Anyway, there's a whole sequence of it. What that does is it touches, your neural network, and it deals with all of your pathways to the brain and the body. You need to find something. Whether you just lie quietly on the bed and put yourself into a meditation where you think of something peaceful, some place you've been in the past. Give me a response. Do you want me to do a guided meditation at some point and just put it on here as a little short episodes? I could do a short episode with a meditation or two. That's fine. I'm not only trying to help you understand what it's like to live as a retired person who speaks English in France. That was our primary motivation for starting this channel, okay? Primary motivation. But then I sort of transitioned a little bit, and I started realizing that people are getting incorrect information about how to move to France from some very dubious sources. And that's why, and I got a lot of fight back from all of you. Not from all of you, I shouldn't say that. I got enough fight back from quite a few of you telling me, oh, well, everybody knows that you can. No, don't. Don't even go there with that. You follow the rules or don't bother coming here, okay? So now I'm noticing that there's a third theme, okay? 1, 2, now we've got 3. The third theme is mass anxiety, stress. Putting stress on a population actually causes you to get hopeless. We don't need to be hopeless right now. We all need to have hearts full of hope, full of dreams, full of wishes, and just pull up your socks and keep moving. That's what I have to do some days, and it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, we've got problems. Again, my computer is about to die, and everything's going on that's just crazy, and then I won't go into the full list of what's going on in the house this week. It's nothing between the two of us. God, we're so lucky. We love each other like crazy. But it's one thing after another. And I was talking to a woman on Facebook yesterday, and she said, I've never seen anything like it. It's like it doesn't end. Every week, it's just something else, and it's very, very stressful. We're all feeling stress. It doesn't matter where you live in the world, whether you think you're safe in whatever country you are, that can be taken away like that. Look at what happened to Ukraine. Now, look at what's happening to all the countries that are around the area of where Putin can send out his little drones, and they're armed. You know they're armed. This is not a good situation whatsoever. Look at what's happening. Do you think the people in Canada are happy about having someone like Trump on their doorstep threatening them? Or Greenland being threatened by Trump? Or Mexico being threatened by Trump? And how about people in the United States who don't feel like they can safely walk down the street? If you've got brown skin or black skin, or your family has been there for generations, and somebody can just grab you and arrest you because you have the wrong color skin, that's a hideous, hideous situation. America was always better for the fact that we welcomed people from the world who came and contributed to the society, whether it's, opening a shop or being a school teacher or being a doctor or a nurse or a researcher or a scientist. It has been enriched. That country has been enriched. It is not meant just for white people of original European origin. That is a really sad situation, and I'm sorry if you don't like the message in this, just turn it off. I can't do a thing about it. All right? I can't help it. I get up every day and turn on the news and then just want to cry and go back to bed and put covers over my head. That's not going to help my life. What's going to help my life is just to keep moving. And that's what I'm encouraging all of you to do, is keep moving. Make your lists, thin down your possessions, get your paperwork done. If you want to come, do it now. Don't do it in a year. Do it now. There may not be time if you keep waiting. All right? Today's news in France is that the new Prime Minister, that President Macron, is it the other way around? Anyway, Macron appointed a man to lead the party and the groups of parties, and that man has resigned just a few weeks in, okay? So, President Macron had the Prime Minister, I think his last name was Le Cornu, and he's resigned today. He just announced a big, not even 24 hours ago, he announced the big, layout of how he was going to do the staff, and then he's resigned this morning. And I thought, no, don't sit and watch France 24 and try and figure out what his reasons are. Just get on here and make this recording before I get tired and stressed and don't do it. So here I am making the recording. There you go. Now, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We now have so close to 1,000 members. Please keep it going. Share this. People need to hear the no-nonsense approach to how to move to Europe. They need to hear no nonsense, not, woo, we can do it all for you. We're so wonderful. We're an agency. We'll do it all. No, do your own research and follow the official links that I have sent you in every single one of these episodes. All right? Get cracking, because there may not be a lot of time left for all of these changes. Okay, so we have close to 1,000 members now. Isn't that wonderful? You have to have an overlap, because every time we change the episode lists, Mark did cooking, and one day he was out in the garden. The last 2 episodes were fluffier. They were not like serious episodes. And we always have some people who like the bicycling and some people who like the cooking. That's all well and good. And some of you who are hardcore, you want the news, okay? You just abandon us as soon as you see a change of pace. Let's go backwards and remember why we started this channel. We started it as 2 retired people who are English speakers living in France. You are going to get a mix of episodes. I'm not giving you the same thing every week. That's never going to happen. I'm not going to tell you what day of the week I release things on. Nope. So somebody telling me that, oh, well, you're late getting this out. No, I'm not late. I don't have a schedule. We get it out as soon as we can. If you're not happy about that, go follow one of the fluffy channels where people dance around. I'm not being a meanie. I'm just being firm. I don't have a lot of patience for things right now. The world is a crazy place. And what all those people want, all the dictators, all the tyrants, they want you to be so exhausted by all of this that you can't think straight. You must think straight. Okay, so the next thing we have to achieve is get up and over 1,000. We've got to have, 100 extra, 1,100. Then we made it to, oh, thank heavens, we made it to 3,000 watch hours. So we have another 1,000 to get through. I think we've done well, though. We've only been on here 11 months, and we've gotten through 3,000 watch hours. So I'm happy about that, because we're not selling anything. We're not, we're not giving you contentious information every week. There's a lot of people who go viral and then they get monetized in just a few months. That was not going to be us, because we don't conduct workshops, and we're just a lifestyle channel of two older people. And I hope that's enough. I really do. I hope that's enough. I'm going to end it here. I'm going to ask you to please keep liking and sharing and watch the episodes, even like today, where you're not going to want to be hearing me give political comments. Watch it all the way to the end, please. All of that matters. When you comment, it tells YouTube that we are engaged with the people who follow us. And so they send out more recommendations. So my next thing is to get this camera off this stand, take the material off of there. I probably won't have very many edits in there, so if there's mistakes, please deal with it, okay? Have some patience. I'm trying to get the material out in as timely a way as I can. So if that means less polish and more immediacy, you might be getting that. I hope that's okay too. We'll get back to the more polished at some point, but this seems very, very important to let you know that people in Europe are very stressed. People in America are very stressed. We have to make decisions. You have to think fast on your feet. You can't piddle around about it and go, oh, well, I'll think about it, and maybe in a year. No, you don't have time to think about it. You have to take decisive measures. Decisive measures are now necessary. Implant that in your brain. And now I'm saying goodbye. I'm going to go out and give Sweetie a kiss, because he's out there harvesting more pears. Good gravy, what are we going to do with all those pears? All right. Thank you for being here. Really, thank you so much for being here. Bye for now.